Today my guest is Michael and Cicelie Neel. How you guys doing?
Hi, David.
Hello.
Cicelie, you've only been Cicelie Neel for a little while, right?
Correct.
You guys got married when?
May 1st.
May 1st, congratulations. You're still on your honeymoon. And you chose to spend it here at DevLink.
That's what we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Geeks. Come to a technology conference for your honeymoon.
You guys, in fact, I noticed that on the Code Stock website, which is your conference, Mike, there's a photo of your wedding.
Yeah, when we were planning and getting married, it occurred to me that it would get retweeted a lot. You know, us getting married, because we've done Code Stock together, you know, all of them. All the Code Stocks have been done together, so, you know, we've been together for a while, and it'd be something people would retweet and say, oh, look, you know, Mike and Cicelie, you know, finally got married.
Yeah, Cicelie did the logos for the Nerd Skull thing.
She's the designer for our little guy, and it occurred to me, it's like, this is going to get retweeted, so instead of posting to my blog the wedding announcement, I posted it to the Code Stock blog so that it would give advertisement to the conference as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's talk about today's topic is being married to a geek, which I thought would be interesting because I thought, Cicelie, how can you be married to this geek, Mike Neel? And I found out that you're actually kind of a geek yourself. But you're
Yes.
not the same kind of a geek,
Not
right?
exactly the same kind of geek, considering I can breathe on a computer and destroy it.
Oh, so it's a matter of geek's not just so you know, it's not a level of talent that defines the geekiness. In my opinion, it's more of an emotional thing. It's more of an attitude. But go ahead. What kind of a geek are you?
Kind of artsy, I like a lot of music and I draw a lot and I play a lot of video games, so I'm...
Anime.
And anime, yeah, but that goes without saying if you call yourself a geek.
Anime, video, band geek, art geek. Okay, all right. So you guys can relate to each other on some. You guys both are into video games, right?
Yeah, so different kinds of games. There's a couple that we overlap on, but I think for the most part we play different
Genres
types of games.
entirely.
Yeah. I don't care for Japanese games at all, and
I primarily play RPGs.
All right. I'm not a gamer, by the way. I don't know what does RPG stand for.
Role-playing games.
All right. See, I told you so.
and what else? We both watch some of the anime.
So my experience has been that most technical geeks are married to non-technical people. I don't know if that's right. That's just sort of my anecdotal observation.
So
And it takes some getting used to. It takes some work in that relationship because geeks have a different mindset.
I think
you
definitely
agree?
so. And it took me a lot of time to find the right woman. So this is my second marriage. I had been married once before, and
A
very
true geek?
non-technical.
Okay.
Very non-technical, and you can only, I think, keep that geek beaten down and inside for so long.
So she has to just accept that. That's never
Yeah,
in the world.
that has to be out
Is that
there.
right? Is that fair?
Basically, because he's been geeky since day one, and I found it endearing. But if you're not wholly you in a relationship, it's not going to work.
Agreed.
So the other thing that I think, you know, for the geek guys out there or geek women that are looking for, you know, a mate or something like that is to, you don't have to be a technology geek, but definitely look for other professions that require a high degree of critical and creativity. You know, critical thought and creative thought. You know, kind of like software development. It requires both. You know, and you have to be
left
creative.
brain, right brain.
You have to kind of mix those two.
Yep.
Cicelie here is an architect, not like us. She didn't just make up that name and say one day, I want to be an architect. She had to
She's a real
go to
architect.
classes, be an intern.
She designs buildings.
Yes, but has to be certified to use that phrase. Unlike the software guys where we just say, hey, I want to be an architect.
That's a subject for another show.
Well, yeah, considering it's still not legal for you to call yourself architects, computer architects in Europe.
Is that right?
It's not legal.
I didn't know.
They won't let
I
you.
think it's too pretentious. Too pretentious for the Europeans. How does that strike you?
Yeah, so that was another thing. You know, when I was out there and dating, was finding someone that you know was in some kind of mentally challenging career, and that's a lot more compatible. So they don't have to be tech geeks, but geeks of some sort, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, some connection point to build upon. So what do you guys do together besides run Code Stock? What brings you guys together? Activities that
usually he has an idea, and if it needs any sort of say physical artwork to it, he's like, Cicelie, I need blah.
That reminds me of the classic designer-developer dilemma. You know, people that are all right-brained. I can't remember which one is which, but people that are all right but not necessarily have good left brains. But people that are
Yes, you could
artistic.
solve that by simply marrying the other side.
Oh, smart move.
If you're a developer, marry the designer. If you're a designer, marry the developer. Yeah, so we do, well, she's one of the partners in Funkworks, too, in our company. Dylan's been on the show. He's the third member. And, yeah, so she kind of heads up all of the creative art and more, less like website design and more, I don't know, what would you say, creative art?
Anything from artwork to colors. I'm really particular on colors. Like,
Programmers are notoriously bad at colors.
and I it's like if something is off by a single red shade, sometimes it will irk me to go in to where I change it myself or find something in, like I'll go on the web, search out what the code is for a certain color and be like, no, change whatever that is to this.
Okay, so I totally get. I don't. It's hard for me to relate to understanding the colors and different shades of which colors complement one another. But I totally get this idea of you need to get that thing exactly right, and you're going to spend hours getting that one extra RGB shade perfect, because that relates directly to what Mike and I are doing.
Yeah.
We're trying to optimize that code or get this thing exactly right in some other part of it. I think that's part of being a geek, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Wanting to drill down, make that thing better.
Yeah,
until
it's
we're out of
passion.
time.
It's the passionate side
It's
of
the
the
passion,
geek.
exactly. It's exactly
And
it.
it comes out, and you know, she gets me for that. She totally gets that. I just get passionate about something, and I'm going to anything I'm going to do, I'm going to overdo. I'm not interested, and I'm going to dominate. I don't have a middle setting. I can't coast. I can't just, like, you know, with our podcast, I built an entire studio to do a podcast. I mean, that's
Nice.
completely overdone.
I want
But,
to see that sometime.
Look
yeah.
what I found on sale.
Yeah, dealing with, can you return this audiovisual equipment and fill out that, because I'm going to upgrade it to this one, or that one didn't interface, you know. With that, I get crazy with that. Other things that we do together, we do tend to watch series together. I don't know if that's
Are these
like
nerdy
television?
series? Like
Television
Battlestar Galactica?
we haven't done Battlestar Galactica.
Doctor Who?
I haven't started that, but Doctor
Yes,
Who,
he
yes.
made me watch all the older Doctor Who's so that I got caught up so that it is relevant to me now.
And by older Doctor Who's, I don't mean the one starting in 2000. I mean the PBS from 1980. Know where this came from. So we did that. We did Heroes for a while.
That was too much crack for me, so I decided to just, when he's watching it, go somewhere else. Otherwise, the crack will consume me.
Mike, do you ever get this tunnel vision that developers are famous for? They kind of get in this, I like to think of it as my muse. You probably relate to this. Artists say they get the muse, they get inspired, and then they'll work for days on end with no sleep, and to get to produce poetry or a novel or a piece of a painting or something like that. And developers are the same way. They'll get motivated and they'll stay up all night to fix a problem.
I think in that respect, I'm different from most developers in that when I get obsessed on something, I'm not obsessed in a tunnel vision type, this piece of code, this thing. I'm obsessed with the entire picture.
Okay.
You know, like when we're doing a project at Funkworks, it's how are we going to, you know, develop the game, artwork for the game, market the game, plan out, you know, like an entire. I'm obsessed at a project level, I guess.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm concerned about how it's going to market. I think it comes across in code stock, you know, because code stock is a very branded thing. I think it's fair to say, you know, the code
Straight
stock.
backwards.
Yeah.
He gets project oriented. I get chunk oriented. Like, not the whole project, just this chunk of the project, not one piece, a chunk.
Okay, so you're not like excluding the other people in your life when you're involved in this, because you're looking at a whole project level.
Normally I'm tasking the people in my
and
life.
you need that or support
I'm
of other
enlisting,
people.
drafting, because I am looking at everything as a much larger project, and you know, there's parts that I'm going to do and take over, but then there's parts that I am farming out.
This is-
Probably not too many marriages have a Kanban board.
You have a Kanban board? For what?
Not for
Just for post stock or for like
we did it for
Vicious?
co-stock, we did it for the business, we did it for our game. Anything of significance, has a Kanban board, we've got an account. So
That's so geeky.
yeah. And that I will call foul on misuse of the Kanban board too. When somebody puts 2 tasks into working, it's like, no, you're not working on 2 tasks. You can only work on 1 task at a time.
And then he doesn't realize I am working on 2 tasks. I get stuck on something, so I go back, and then I go back, and I just don't want to keep switching back and forth on the board. I want to say I'm working on these 2 today. I'm not going to go off into Never Never Land on a 3rd one. I'm just going to start on these 2.
You get the Kanban. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's definitely something. I think that's unique to us. Doing that. I know that I watched. I don't know if you watched. Hanselman did this. He's done a podcast with his wife.
I have heard. He did one recently. He started out talking a similar topic we're doing. What does it take to be married to a geek? But it didn't. There was very little geekiness in it.
Yeah,
they had a schedule, and they just talk about how they manage their relationship. They have a very planned.
They did.
Marriage. They have a budget. They have. They each have a budget. How much discretionary income they can spend. They have rules about email and rules about. I don't know. He's just. I guess that is a geeky thing to do, but it didn't have anything to do with the fact that he was a developer by trade. I didn't think.
It may not have. That is not. I don't think that's us at all.
No.
We're very unplanned.
Interesting. It works for you.
There's big plans, macro plans, but task detail plans. I mean, that's one of the reasons we have the Kanban board, is to get all these tasks down that actually have to be done for anything larger.
Is the baby up there? On the
Baby's not
Kanban
up
board?
there.
Okay, that would be hyper planning. Talking about planned.
Is the baby? Is the baby done but not deployed? Is
I think it's in the production phase.
It's in the production phase?
Yeah, it's past the envisioning, I know that.
It's past envisioning.
The planning.
The initial work has been done.
Like.
Yeah, the initial work has been done, but I don't know.
There is a delivery phase.
There is a delivery phase. We haven't gotten there yet. So that ticket hasn't moved all the way across yet. Yeah. So one of the things I noticed that they were very planned, and even on the budget, we haven't set any rules or guidelines or anything. It's still very, actually nervously so.
Yeah, so you've only been married a couple of months though. Is that going to be an issue of contention? You think that's
that's the
number one reason
together.
Why
for 3 years.
3 years. So you've been through that already. I mean, you've been through all the typical household pains. But that I'm sure you've read this. The number one reason couples argue, is money.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been an issue so far because you're independently wealthy.
Well, as a developer, yeah. So I have a better than average income.
Okay.
I mean, for developers, I think like 60,000 is the average.
Okay.
So any developer over 60, which I think is a good number, that have been in it a while, you're above average in pay. So, and then even most developers are at pay levels that are dual income compared to other households. So I think we have that easier in that respect, that it's not as tight.
Yeah.
And most of the splurges we talk about beforehand, even though we don't plan on them beforehand, before I'm going to want to do something that would be anywhere near big, I tell him, or if he's going to do something that he considers a major expense, not just going on sales I found these videos for $5 for $100. No, it's something that's going to cost $200 or $300.
Yeah, like the video equipment.
Yeah.
So it sounds like even though you say you're not planning, you really are. You're just not writing it down. You're verbally planning.
Yeah, we're not. It's not written down. But I mean, at the same token, I've never been surprised, upset, or shocked. To come home and where did this come from? This is new. Did we need these, shoes or something like that? I think for the most part, she's good at hiding those from me. I won't see those new ones come in as often.
I have not bought new boots in let's say about 6 months.
That's the secret. My mom taught me this. She said that one day she would hide it for 6 months, and then she'd bring it out, and my dad would say, "Where do we get this? We've had that for months."
Yeah.
Don't you notice things?
But at the same
Just turn
token,
that around.
I don't get any flack for picking up a game or something, or impulse buying a USB thumb drive or something like
You're
that.
kind of self-regulating. You're not going to go out and buy 50 games. And
Yeah.
No, we usually finish or at least try out most of the games that we do beforehand.
there's not much time left to buy any games after your all your trial versions.
Yeah.
Sometimes we play the video games that we know we want to play just because some of the trials are so trialing.
That's good.
Doonch.
I'm going to tweet that.
And I think the other thing that she has really good is she has a lot of patience with me, because as geeks, it's easy to, as a tech geek, as a code developer geek, it's easy to dismiss somebody who's asking questions. You know,
I've seen that happen.
What are you working on? You know, oh, I'm doing this system for this. And that just prompts curiosity questions. So, well, what is that? You know, genuine curiosity. And I think I'm better about that than I was in my younger years. You know, of not just, though you wouldn't understand, go away. But
Is that because you do a lot of teaching? You do a lot of
I think it's more
mentoring, and you
because
do.
his daughters are getting older, and so he's preparing himself to get ready for questions if they actually are interested.
well, and plus I've had, you know, my other two daughters, 6 and 10 now. So I've been through the terrible twos twice. And, you know, I kind of have that fatherly skin of, you know, why, well this.
So
Oh, you know what,
that's
because.
hesitation, right?
Just
Parenthood
because.
hesitations. Yeah, and I see it. So here we're at DevLink. We had your conference CodeStack about a month ago, and I think that sort of breeds that patience you're talking about, because there's a wide range of skill sets here, and there's a lot of people here that, like yourself, that have a lot of experience, and there's a lot of people also that are just brand new to it, and they're asking what some people would consider dumb questions, or and I don't see any of that. You know, what are you asking such a dumb question for? You know?
Yeah.
There is other people are coming to it. They're passionate. They're curious. We've got really smart people coming to these conferences.
And I think
And I
most
think
people
that's
hear
the same
the
thing happens
question.
when we're talking non-technical person. Non-technical person is you've got to have that patience. If somebody's curious and they're passionate about it, we want to exchange
I
that
think
information.
I think a lot of people here appreciate the question because you're interested and you're engaged, and they can identify that as, oh, here's another passionate person.
Exactly.
They don't know as much yet, but they're just like me because they're obsessed with that, and you can identify that way rather than get caught in the questions. But you know, it still happens at night. You know, I mean, you're coding, you're trying to get something done, and you know, somebody's asking you questions about it, and
It's kind of an interruption.
yeah, it's an interruption and all that. So
Yeah.
So most of the time, I just look over his shoulder until he says, "What?"
yeah, I do that one. I do. You're standing over my
It's like
shoulder
I'm just
there.
looking, trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah, there's usually did you have a question? Did you need something? Can I help you?
It's like, no, I'm just looking.
So let's wrap it up. Cicely, what can you tell our audience would be some advice for if they're thinking about, if they've just been asked out by a geek, or if they're in a relationship with a geek and they want to make it work?
Geeks are rather steady. If they come up to you and they let you get to know just like their normal personality over the course of, like, say, a month, you usually get a good slice of what they are and what they aren't. And if you can handle that, and if you don't think it's like weird, because you can't think it's weird, you can't think it's odd, it's just got to be that person, then it's pretty good. And then as long as they don't do something that just completely annoys you, then it's usually probably going to be fine.
All right. So patience and understanding is what I'm hearing from you there. And Mike, same question. What's you're a geek. Somebody in our audience is a technical guy and great at computers, and here's somebody outside of their industry. They want to.
They need, I think, first and foremost, is just to be yourself. We were talking earlier about geeks with non-geek significant others. You know, geeks with a non-geek spouse. A lot of that, and it not working out. A lot of that is because you repressed that geek and weren't willing to show what you're like most hours of the day. And you know, just go with and be yourself. Crack the jokes that you crack around your friends. You know, make the references to XKCD that you make. You know, around your friends. And I think it's highly attractive. That's that's an interesting personality. There's questions, that somebody's like, what's going on? What's the story behind this guy? This guy is interesting.
Yeah.
There's something. If you try to repress that, you just become bland.
Yeah.
Right? You don't really have a personality, and then it's easily forgettable. So be yourself, because that will attract the right type of spouse, the right type of girlfriend or boyfriend that you're looking for.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Mike, Cicelie. Good luck on the marriage. Good luck on the coming baby. What's the baby's name?
Jasmine Elaine.
It's a girl. I hope.
Yes.
And thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Welcome to Technology and Friends. That's all I can
That's
say
good.
on
All
that.
right, thanks.
Technology, friends, and lovers.
I was walking in front of the camera.
Friends and friends with benefits.
Technology, friends with benefits.